The first time I got isolated badly was when they were having the Canwell Hearings. Mm-hmm. Now, you've heard about the Canwell Hearings.
And this is around 1946 and 1947.
Yes. Yeah. So, we had that building, which is now the center house, mm-hmm. surrounded with pickets. They weren't all communists. And there was a man in his 80s or 90s, and there were women with their children, mine. There was one woman that organized a beautiful demonstration. She put tape over everybody's mouth, and was no freedom of speech, no freedom of association, no freedom of this and that. And have you seen those papers from 50 years, 1998, I think it was. Well, after we get through, I'll get some out, because I've got some copies yet. So that was the Canwell Hearings. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't ostracized or isolated from anybody then. But we had organized a group of women and joined into an organization called the Congress of American Women. Now, I don't remember if that was before all this or after all this. But Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, who was a leader in the Communist Party, came out here and urged us to organize a Communist Party organization, a Congress of American Women mm-hmm. organization. So we did. So there were 17 of us, and a group of us worked up a statement to read to a joint congressional committee that had come out here touring the whole country, had come here to ask people to describe the effects of the lifting of price controls. Now, I can't remember the exact date of that either. So, we wrote up a statement, and we just really blasted Congress for lifting that. No controls on rent, no controls on food. And they said, well, you know, the prices will find their level. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're paying, $4 or $5 or $6 for meat now, that at one time we could pay for less than $1, you'll know that the level is pretty high. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, I was the only one of the women that wasn't working. So I had to go before this congressional committee. And this was one of my starring roles, maybe I should say. I sat there and listened. They had had 2 days of hearings before they let the people, the grassroots people, talk. And they even had a holdover from Frederick and Nelson, which doesn't exist anymore now, but which at that time was a big department store. And they got to talk, and some other people got to talk. And the people that were called to talk to them about this, they sat there and they talked like this, you know, you could just barely. And I was in the front row and I could just barely hear. Boy, I said, if I ever get up there, and I didn't expect to, because we had written such a blasting statement, but they called on me. So, one of my uncles, a great uncle, had taught me to read when I was young, to read with expression. So I'm reading away on this statement, and they stopped me. And I saw to it that everybody could hear me. And this guy stopped me. He said, now just a minute. What organization did you say? And I said, the Congress of American Women. How many members do you have? And we had these 17 organizing groups. See? And I said, do you mean here or nationally? Oh, this is a national organization? I said, yes, we have several 100,000, I don't remember what it was. And internationally, we are associated with the women, well, it was a worldwide women's organization that later on I got to go to Europe to a meeting. Oh, well, they never got back to how many we had in Seattle, so I was always kind of proud of that. Then he said, after I kept reading, well, now, did you say this was prepared here? He said, it sounds like it was prepared somewhere else and sent up here for you to read. I said, well, maybe the conditions are the same or similar, but we did this ourselves. That isn't exact words I used, but anyhow, this was done here. Oh, I was furious when he accused us of that, because it was of course the conditions were the same all over the United States, some places worse than others. But there was a man who was editor of the paper at that time. I think it was called The New World, and it supported the Communist Party. It wasn't really a communist paper, but it was supported by the Communist Party. And he wrote me a note, and he said, congratulations, Irene. You met them on their own ground, and you whooped them. So that was one of the things I've done that I've been about as proud of as anything.